Welcome. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone is well. Now, today we're going to be taking a little preview to the Hertha Berlin and Union Berlin happening tomorrow. Just take a little look, see who the best picks and options might be for DraftKings, and yeah, let's get straight into it. So, let's take a look at the slate and see what options they've given us and the pricings. So, first things first, we come to Kuna, who plays for Hertha Berlin. The first three players actually play for Hertha Berlin, with only Trimmel coming in close to the sort of premium range for Union Berlin at 9.4k. Kuna at quite a premium salary of 11,800. Let's take a look at his stats now. He has been on very good form recently. We can see he's picked up 17 points, 26 points and 21 points. The thing to note here, I guess, is that he has scored in each one of these. However, his floor seems to be reasonably okay. He managed to pick up 26.7 points and 21 points with only one goal, which means he's clearly got sort of 9 or 10 points in each of those games from solely shots. Against Hoffenheim, though, he only got 17, including a goal, which tends to sort of say that he didn't really contribute that much else. If he didn't score, he would have only got 5 points. But even so, he did score, which means he got 17 points. Definitely someone to consider, although he is quite a premium price. When you've got these two, on the other hand, who Plattenhardt and Mittelstadt, if I've butchered that, I'm sorry. But these two guys seem to be the guys who are whipping all the balls in. They may even have a share of crosses, share of set pieces, sorry. And yeah, if we look at Plattenhardt here, this is a guy I'm definitely looking at putting in my team, maybe even captaining, because this guy's got sort of 9 crosses a game here, and his crossing stats are very good across the board, especially against against Bayern Munich and Mönchengladbach, two very good opponents. He was still bringing in a decent amount of crosses, and we just see here, without any goals or assists, his floor is pretty high, so I feel like he might be a must-have, along with this guy at Mittelstadt. Now, this guy, I think he gets a few more goal contributions, not that many more, and we see some crosses from him. It seems as though during this period here, he probably was on set pieces. And now Plattenhardt, over these few games, I feel has probably taken over the set piece duties, as Plattenhardt has seen 9 crosses in each of these respective games, whereas we only see 2 and 1 here from Mittelstadt. But definitely someone to consider, and someone who's shown throughout the season to have a decent floor. Moving down onto Trimmel, someone who I was actually very impressed with in the game at the weekend. They played against Bayern Munich, and he still managed to creep up with 10.5 points. This guy, as you can see, has just been incredibly solid throughout the season. He's got his name written on every single set piece. He's even come along with a few assists along the way, which is important for a player I'm going to mention in a minute, who I think is great value. Piatek is a player who you could consider. However, this guy seems reasonably reliant on actually just scoring goals and doesn't really offer much else. So you'd be reliant on him scoring a goal, and for 9.2 thousand, I think it's quite an expensive buy. Now we go down a little bit more. Again, this guy Bolter, same as Piatek, a little bit cheaper, but you're really just relying for this guy to score goals. For the reader, let's take a look at his stats. As you can see here, he's been absolutely whipping the crosses in, but he hasn't been playing all that often for them, so he's definitely a player to look out for if he does play. However, whether he does actually play is whether he'll be in the team. But if he does play, I think that's a very good price. Maybe you can get Trimmel, Plattenhardt and Derrida in there as a sort of your solid 3, and then build the rest around that. Going down a bit more, there's not too much to really mention from these players here. We get the Hertha Berlin goalkeeper here, Jarstein, and I mean, if you're predicting Hertha Berlin to keep a clean sheet and to win the game, the goalkeeper is always a nice 10-point boost at the end of the game. However, the majority of games, the goalkeeper won't keep a clean sheet. Then you're really relying on the goalkeeper to get the save points, get the win, to break sort of 8-10 points. And for 7.2k, I really don't see Hertha Berlin keeping a clean sheet against Union Berlin, who looks very good against Bayern Munich. Then we scroll down a little and we start to see something of a bit more interest. Now these two guys here, I'm very interested in because Ibisevic at the weekend against Hoffenheim, he was pretty dangerous, and he did in fact get a goal at the age of, I think it was 30. I think he's 35 now, so he clearly won't be playing the full 90 minutes. But he's getting himself in front of goal, getting himself into good positions, and is being very clinical in those positions. That's one thing I will say about Kuna, is that, as we can see from his stats, he's getting in a lot of good positions. However, from the game I saw at the weekend, he did miss quite a few easy opportunities. So although he's getting into good positions, he's not actually scoring them. So I guess it's a bit, he's getting the shot points, but he's not getting the goals. So maybe looking at someone else might be a bit of a better option. So as I was saying, with Ibisevic, decent option if you think he's going to score, otherwise not really. This guy Anderson, I think they've definitely underpriced him. It's probably because he was on the bench against Bayern. We probably won't be seeing that, or hopefully won't be seeing that again this weekend, because as we can see here, he's been in pretty good form throughout the season. I mean, he had a bit of a dry patch here, obviously, but he's really their main threat. And if you're going to get Trimmel in your team, this is the guy who he's going to be crossing into. So if Trimmel gets an assist, you're most likely going to get a goal from this guy, and that little combination from the corners, from the set pieces, is going to be really pay dividends. And for 6k, if he was about 9k, I probably wouldn't be putting him in, because you're relying on the guy scoring really to get the points. But for 6k, him being their main striker, the guy they're going to look to, the guy who's going to get all the opportunities for them, I think this will be a good buy. And we scroll down, we got I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, to be honest, but we have this guy, and he's the goalkeeper for Union Berlin. He pulls in quite a few save points, but as mentioned earlier, goalkeepers, you're really relying on them keeping the clean sheet or just getting the win and the save points. And as we can see here, it's a bit of a topsy-turvy ride. You never really know when the points are going to come, but when they do come, like here, 25.4 points for a goalkeeper at a price of 5.6k. Now that's almost 5 points per million, which is incredible value. But you'll be relying on him to keep that clean sheet and get the win. So maybe worth sticking him in one of your teams, obviously dependent on how many teams that you're actually going to put in. Now scrolling down a little bit more, and this guy is someone who I'm very interested in. A defender for Union Berlin. Is a bit cheaper against Bayern Munich, but I mean, 6 crosses against Bayern Munich, a possession-based team. Union Berlin didn't see all that much of the ball, as we can see here by his accurate passes, or 24. And I mean, 6 crosses to 24 accurate passes. That's a great yield. So he's definitely someone I've got my eye on. It seems as though they must have put him in a bit more of an attacking role. I mean, he's got 5 crosses here as well, and he's got a decent floor of probably around 6 or 7 points. And with the likes of Anderson most likely playing, you definitely could see an assist rock up, as we saw here, and that could definitely boost his points up. So definitely someone to look out for in Christopher Lenz. Now going a bit further down, I mean, you've got another forward here in Ingvartsen for Union Berlin. Another player as well, you just be relying on getting the goals for. Nothing really too much to note. I mean, you've got a few. I mean, but as mentioned in previous videos, this really when you get down to this sort of price bracket, you can't be hoping for anything too special. But I mean, there are a lot of players who do creep up with a goal in this price bracket, and if you pick that correct player, then you're going to go flying up with the differential, because a lot of these guys will only get sort of 2 or 3% picked. So if we scroll down a little bit more, this guy Uja, definitely someone to consider. He started the game against Bayern Munich, didn't do all that much, but I guess it is against Bayern. But if he does get his place ahead of Anderson, definitely someone to look at as just a cheap filler option who could easily just go and bang a goal in against a decent opposition, but not as good as Bayern Munich. Then we scroll down a bit more, and a note I made when watching the Bayern Munich game was this guy, Prommel. He had a very good performance, and someone I think I definitely will put in my team as a filler. I mean, he had an 8.9 points against Bayern Munich, and that's the first time we've really seen him, here as well. I mean, it's Leipzig, but it's the first time we've really seen him in recent get a 90 minutes, or almost 90 minutes. And, I mean, he was drawing a lot of fouls, he was getting himself in good positions, shooting. Yeah, for me, for 3.8 thousand, he's going to be sort of a solid pick in a lot of my teams. Just value for money. I think, even if he gets 5-6 points, you're only paying 3,800 for him. Whereas a lot of these other guys, I mean, any of these guys really, you're hoping for sort of 3 or 4 points from these guys really. So this guy Boyata, let's have a look. See, look, 2.1, 2.7, 3.5. He gets a couple of goals here, obviously boosts up his FPPG, but then we go back to the same old 0.6. You look 6.1, probably had a better game there, but 4.4, 2.6. So really you're looking at sort of 2 or 3 points from these kind of guys, whereas Prommel's a player I think who could definitely smash through the ceiling of that and potentially get another 8.9 and 9, 10. That would be great from him if we get that kind of value for money. We scroll down a little bit more, and really there's not too much. All of these guys down the bottom will just be filler players, nothing more than that. This guy's got a decent FPPG, but as you can see, he's only played a couple of games. I mean, someone to maybe look out for if he does play, because a 9.7 without any kind of goal or assist or clean sheet for a defender. That's hella good stats, but other than that, really, you're just looking at Subotic, Friedrich players. I mean, Subotic is like a regular defender for Union Berlin. But other than that, you really just look. These are all just kind of filler options. If we're looking at our captaincy picks, I'd say that probably one of Plattenhardt, Trimmel, or probably Derrida. This guy would have to go in there. I think Derrida probably offers you best value in terms of money, because he's been getting the crosses in. He's been doing the job basically, but that's as long as he starts. He didn't play against Hoffenheim. Maybe that means we'll see him play this weekend, as the Bundesliga have very busy fixtures. They've got fixtures coming this weekend, then they've got midweek, then they've got next weekend. So we might have been seeing a few players being rested. So if the reader does play, we can lob him in captain, and that really gives us a bit more room to fit in the likes of probably Trimmel. I'd like to get Plattenhardt in there as well, just as a bit more, push the floor up. Then we get Anderson, and I'm going to scroll down, lob Prommel in there, and that leaves us with 8k. That's quite a lot of money spare. So if we scroll up, I mean, there's not too many options I like from these guys. I mean, I quite like Chris Valend, as I said, so maybe we can actually afford a more expensive captain. Let's see what Trimmel has to offer in terms of price. So we're looking at Trimmel here, we're on 14.1. Does that mean we can afford? It does mean that we can afford Derrida. And yeah, I'd be looking at sort of a team around this. I know we still have a remaining salary of 2.1k, but you don't always have to actually fill the salary up to create the best team. Sometimes, and a lot of the times in these games, it's the weird lineups, maybe with 2k salary remaining, that will actually take them down, because not many people will have gone for this because they think, I've got 2k left, I've got to spend it. But in reality, you don't. We could also maybe fit in Plattenhardt and get Trimmel in there. Being the home side, I mean, home advantage may not have too much of a difference, but being the home side, it's quite nice to have the home side set piece taker, as that player tends to sort of at least get you around 13 or 14 points, just consistently ticking up. It gets to a point in these games where if you have the set piece takers, if they're ticking away all game and it does end up being a 1 or a 2-0 game, you can tick up so much that a player, even if he scores, say there's no assist, if he scores, there are people below you who can't catch up with you because they don't have a set piece taker, and therefore your points have just been flying up, and that 10-point gap isn't enough. Obviously goals are very important in this. But yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, I'll be back again at 6 PM tomorrow, and I'll catch you later.